Sri Ramakrishna Dev said, happiness and sorrow are both the pastimes of God. God tests us with happiness and teaches us with sorrow. Mother Sarada said, happiness and sorrow are both tests of our life. Passing the test of happiness brings us closer to God, and passing the test of sorrow brings us more love of God. One was asked, is there more pain in your life than happiness? The man replied, hard more. The questioner asked again, why? The man said, because in times of happiness, no one thinks of sufferings. To find the answer to the question of why there is more suffering than happiness in our lives, we must first know, hello, how are you? I am Nandita. Welcome to our YouTube channel, It's Moonmeal. Swami Vivekananda said, happiness and sorrow are both the learning medium of our life. Happiness gives us self-confidence and sorrow gives us self-strength. Swami Sarvapriyananda said, happiness and sorrow are both the resources of our lives. Happiness inspires us and sorrow educates us. Both happiness and sadness are an integral part of our life. There is no meaning of suffering without happiness, and there is no meaning of happiness without suffering. According to Swami Vivekananda, Sri Ramakrishna Dev, Ma Sarada Devi, Swami Sarvapriyananda's teachings, sayings, philosophies, precepts, the reason why there is more suffering than happiness in our life is because both happiness and sadness are the means of education in our life. God's pastime, test, wealth. There is more suffering than happiness in our life. Many people say this, but how true is this? To find the answer to the question, we have to go deeper into our lives. We have to know our own selves. There are many reasons why suffering is more than happiness in our life. Some of these reasons are, Mother Sarada says, our mind is naturally inclined towards happiness. We always want something. When we cannot fulfill those desires, we suffer. Sri Ramakrishna Dev says, our actions bring happiness or sorrow in our life. If we think once before doing the things of our life, then there will be less sorrow in life. Swami Vivekananda says, our environment also depends on the happiness and sorrow of our life. If our environment is good, we have more happiness in our life. But if our environment is bad, then there is more misery in our life. Sages like Swami Vivekananda, Sri Ramakrishna Dev, Mother Sarada, Swami Sarvapriyananda, etc. have told us the way to change this mentality. They say that we have to fix our mind on God. When we focus our mind upon God, our mentality changes. We lean towards happiness rather than towards sadness. Swami Vivekananda said, where there is God, there is no sorrow. Sri Ramakrishna Dev said, he who believes in God has no sorrow. Mother Sarada Devi says, chanting God's name removes sorrow. Swami Sarvapriyananda says, by the grace of God, all sorrows are removed. This game of happiness and sadness goes on in life as well. But why do we feel more suffering than happiness in our lives? Today, to find the answer to this question, we will cross the path of the spiritual world. This game of happiness and sadness goes on in life as well. But why do we feel more suffering than happiness in our lives? Today, to find the answer to this question, we will cross the path of spiritual world, guided by the teachings of the great people. Sri Ramakrishna Dev says, happiness and sadness are two faces of our mind. When our desires are fulfilled, the mind sparkles with joy. That is happiness. And when the desire is not fulfilled, the mind becomes impure. That is sorrow. But why this desire? Every desire we have comes from two places. One, our nature. We want happiness, peace. Two, our environment. The external world influences our desires. But these external things can never be lasting happiness. Sri Ramakrishna Dev says, the water of river cannot be caught in Kamandalu. True happiness is the happiness of the soul. It cannot be caught. It has to be realized. Swami Vivekananda says, we misunderstand that happiness is in the external world, and the reason for this misapprehension is our ignorance. Just like taking a wrong path in the dark, ignorance keeps us away from the true destination of happiness. Happiness should not be sought outside, it should be found from within. Mother Sarada says, ignorance is the cause of suffering. So, to remove suffering, the darkness of ignorance must be removed by lighting the light of self-inquiry. Swami Vivekananda said, suffering is the lesson of life. He also said, sadness makes us better. According to Swami Vivekananda, suffering elevates us from lower self to the higher self. Sri Ramakrishna Dev said, life is neither heaven nor hell. Life is a journey. He also said there will be both happiness and sadness in life. According to Sri Ramakrishna Dev, happiness and sorrow are both integral parts of life. Mother Sarada says, happiness is hidden in sorrow. She also said it is through suffering that we understand the value of happiness. According to Mother Sarada, the seeds of happiness are hidden in sorrow. Swami Sarvapriyananda said, God hides in suffering. He also said it is through suffering that we can come to God. According to Swami Sarvapriyananda, there is an opportunity to meet God in suffering. There will be both happiness and sadness in life. Grief makes us better. It is through suffering that we understand the value of happiness. God hides in sorrow. There will be both happiness and sadness in life. That is a fact. But if we accept sadness positively, it can make us happy. It is through suffering that we understand the value of happiness. We cannot be happy if we do not understand the value of happiness. God hides in sorrow. Only through suffering can we come to God. In Swami Vivekananda's philosophy, grief is a purification process. Sri Ramakrishna Dev said, life is neither heaven nor hell. Life is a journey. There will be both happiness and sorrow in life. Both happiness and sorrow are integral parts of life. Without happiness, there is no meaning of sorrow. Without sorrow, there is no value of happiness. Mother Sarada says, happiness is hidden in sorrow. It is through sorrow that we realize the value of happiness. Sorrow is the seed of happiness. It is through sorrow that the true desire of happiness is awakened. Swami Sarvapriyananda said, God is hidden in suffering. It is through suffering that we can come closer to God. Suffering is a way to experience God. Through suffering, we can go deep into our heart and meet God.